in the gym right across the hallway. But we will be continuing with your comments. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick 5-minute recess for everybody to kind of reorganize. So, board, if you would like to move into the other room, and we're 5 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We are in open session and we are being live streamed. However, at this time, we are going to continue with comments for the closed session. Does that make sense? And then we will go into our regular agenda. Okay? Is that right? Everybody good?
Got it.
All right, so our next speaker. Okay, I'm not sure, so bear with me. I think this is a J. Jacinto. Oh, thank you. Jacinto Caballero. Thank you. Excuse me for butchering your name.
So I've never had Coach T as an in-person teacher. I have for the past 2 summers taken summer school. So I was there emailing him, especially when something went wrong, and he was so quick to email me back. My first time doing summer school, I was really struggling getting any kind of motivation, and so I have a 504, and literally like 2 days before summer school ended, I emailed him with my 504 asking if I could please get an extension, and it only took him a few hours to fix it. And last year for summer school, something went wrong with my Ingenuity, and my tests couldn't be unlocked, so I was falling behind. So I emailed him on a Saturday over the summer, and in less than a few hours, I open it back up, and all of a sudden it's fixed. He's so quick to respond, even over summer. I can't think of any other teacher at this school who would sacrifice their whole summer, their weekends, all of it, just to make sure they are emailing students back on time, make sure they can get that summer school work done. And not only that, I have been told by every single person I know who has Coach T how amazing he is as a teacher and how much they loved having him. To the point where after senior sunrise, when we had to leave, myself and a few friends, we didn't really have anywhere to go. And we just went into Coach T's class. And at first I felt a little awkward because, like I said, I've only ever emailed him. But he made me feel so welcomed in those few hours I was there in his class. I felt so welcomed, more so in a classroom than I ever had, in just being in there. Even though it was with a few of my friends, there were also other people in that classroom who just came in to hang out with him after senior sunrise, which just shows how much of an impact he has on people. There were people who weren't in his class that year too, who just after senior sunrise, a lot of people had the collective idea of, let's go hang out in Coach T's classroom, because they know he'd be there and they know he'd be ready and willing to host them to be there because of how generous he is to all of his students, and even to me, who I've never talked to him before. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Leo Sanchez.
Hello, my name is Leo Sanchez, and I'm coming here as a former student and current community member. First thing I want to say is, Cece Grubbs and Leslie Beatson, I've had you both as educators in the past. And let me be frank, neither of you have had the impact that Coach T has had on students here in Benicia schools. And I mean that respectfully. When I think about what it means to be a great teacher, someone who's truly changed lives, I think of Coach T. He's been more than just a teacher or a coach. He's been a voice, a supporter, and an inspiration for generations of students in this town. In a world where it's easy to feel unheard, Coach T made every student feel seen, valued, and capable. You could hear it in his words, and you can see it in his actions. He's showed up for us every single day. You won't find another teacher who gives as much of himself as Coach T does. He's devoted countless hours to coaching football, building character for children, and teaching that it's not just about what you do on the field, but who you are in the classroom and life. That lesson will continue to shape generations long after we've moved on. When people think of this high school, they think of him, the heart, the spirit, and the belief that he's built here, and that's worth standing up for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Leo. Our next speaker is Frida Silva Cortez.
Can I just make an announcement? There's like a 15 to 30 second delay to to the other room, just so people know.
What does that mean? Oh, and I'm sorry, please excuse me, but we are live streaming into the Liberty High gym, and there is a 5 to a 15-second delay. So we just want you to be aware of that, especially the people in the
And if people want to speak.
other room. And also, if you would like to speak to the closed session item number 4, please fill out a comment card, which is at the front, by the front door on the table. And please give it to Ms. Martinez, who is right there. Okay, excuse me for interrupting.
Don't worry about it. Am I good to? Okay. Good evening, President Grubbs, Superintendent Calabrese, fellow trustee, and board members. You may recognize me. I am the representative of Liberty High School, board representative, and I have heard about what had happened with Coach T and how he may no longer be working there against his will. I previously went to Benicia High School for 3 years, and for which I had Coach T for 2 years. A lot of my year there, I felt unseen. I felt like I had no teacher that really cared about me like Coach T did. Even when he did not have me as a student, along with other students, he would still check up, hey, Frida, how's soccer going? Are you still training? Are you still doing this? He's one of the teachers that notices and remembers each student's individual passions, each student individual, and cares. He really cares. He notices. He makes people feel heard. And it's just really sad to hear what has happened to him. But I really hope you guys consider how much impact Coach T has had for all of the students at Benicia High, and not only that at Liberty High School, which I'm currently attending. It's not easy for me to say that a teacher from a previous school I still genuinely care about, and he was such a great character with a great sense of humor, and he would always help me out whenever I had a question when I had his math class, and I really hope you guys reconsider a decision that might be made in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Frida. Our next speaker is Alex De Leon.
It's not to do with this subject, is that okay?
Oh, yes, I will take it and call you at the next comment. Brianne Marshall?
Same thing.
Oh, okay, yes, I see. Nico Sanchez?
Hello, everybody. My name is Nico Sanchez, and I graduated from Benicia High in 2021. Now, I may not have had the honor of being taught by Coach T in the classroom, but I did have the honor of being coached by him on the football field. And let's be honest, everybody who went to Benicia High knew who Coach T was. Coach T is one of those rare people who truly puts his students first, no matter what. He's the kind of man who dedicates his time, his energy, and his heart to making sure that his kids succeed. Whether that's on the football field, in the classroom, or simply in life. There aren't many teachers who become iconic, but we all know Coach T is one of them. Even if a few of us made some terrible decisions along the way, and I'm sure some of you did, Coach T never stopped showing up for us. He wasn't just there during school hours. He'd stay late to help students who were struggling, not only with math, but within their own lives. He was a mentor, a role model, and for many of us, a lifeline for when things got truly tough. I'm not here to argue with you guys. I'm here to testify to Coach T's character and the example that he set for every single student who walked through those Benicia High doors. To discredit a man who has had such a profound impact on so many students, that's not just wrong, it's disgraceful. And frankly, if teachers like Coach T are treated unfairly, how can we expect passionate, dedicated educators to keep teaching in this district?
So I ask you, no, I urge you to think carefully about the decision you are making. Because there are generations of Benicia High students who would not be the people they are today without Coach T. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico. And our next speaker is Dominic Gavin. Can you pronounce your last name for me, please? Garingaround. Garingaround. Rao.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Dominic Ringrau. I'm a current senior here at Benicia High School. I just came to represent wrestling here and really state how just outside of academics, he's currently was one of my teachers. And just for the wrestling side, he has helped tremendously across multiple years, every year of high school, as a matter of fact. I can't really name any other teacher that would have a similar effect and similar benefit to anyone else at Benicia High School. And that's basically all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Elijah Belinden.
Hello, my name's Elijah Belandon. I go to Benicia currently. I had Coach T my junior year and this year as well. And if you guys are thinking of removing him, I think that's an absolute terrible choice. He is not just a teacher, he is an inspiration, honestly. Someone who can be a great coach in track, football, wrestling, like Dom said, is someone you do not want to remove. He does so much stuff for the school on the back end that half of anyone even knows. My girlfriend's mom, Miss Leslie, she used to be a gym teacher here at Benicia, 20-some years ago, and she has stories of Coach T that are even great then, how he's not taking promotions to stay teaching, which is his true passion. If you want a more passionate teacher than Coach T, you're not gonna find it. He is truly the gold standard of teachers and just people to be there for you. That's all.
Thank you. So is there anyone else who would like to speak to item number 4? Other than that. Let me go check the other room. Okay. And if not, then we will be going on to our regular agenda. Okay, we're going to go on to our regular agenda. And this meeting is being recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel. Stella Sylvia from the Forest Challenge team, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. And our vision and mission statement, Caroline Pilot. Hi.
Benicia Unified School District vision. We are an inclusive community that cultivates an equitable and responsible environment, empowering all students to develop strong character and academic excellence to become well-rounded and engaged global citizens. Mission. In partnership with students, families, staff, and the community, we are committed to inclusive community, respecting diversity and nurturing a safe and equitable environment, empowered students,
being responsive to student needs and voices while fostering the passion for learning, collaboration, and individual expression needed to reach their future ambitions. Strong character, promoting social emotional learning, integrity, mental and physical wellness, and values-aligned actions. Academic excellence, supporting and retaining a caring and well-trained staff who promote critical thinking, cultural and technological literacy by ensuring rigorous and innovative programs. Well-rounded and global citizens, offering relevant learning opportunities to help build a sustainable future.
Thank you so much. Before we go on, I would just like to mention that we will be, at the end of our open session tonight, we will be adjourning to closed session. So the approval, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
May I make a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I'll second that.
We'll help you, Georgina.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our highlight tonight is Benicia High Forestry Challenge Competition, Principal Kleinschmidt.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us tonight, and I'm very honored to present our Forestry Challenge team, winning team, along with their teacher advisor, Emily Hudson. We lost one due to the delay, so I just want to make sure that we celebrate Annika Jadov, she had to leave, and also introduce Heidi Jackson, Stella Sylvia, and Caroline Pilot, along with Ms. Hudson.
Okay, you guys come over here and hold this. Okay. So I'm going to just do some key points. Thank you guys for truly letting us celebrate. I've actually been, what is the California Forestry Challenge? It's really hard to define. It is kind of a career ed competition that teaches students about natural resources. So they go out and they learn about all kinds of forestry techniques. Then they actually have to have a real life kind of case study and they come up with a presentation. So it is an extracurricular activity. They met twice a week during access period and then after school. We lectured, we practiced, we measured trees, we identified trees, all of that. It is a competition where they have field work, where they do all of these things that a real forester would do. We met some really cool, what was an all-female forestry business, which is almost unheard of, and so they were very happy about that. My overall team was 8 girls, so I had an all-female team, which is very fun to have. They also did a presentation, and I want to just say a little bit about what they are given. They are given a piece of paper that looks like this and sitting for 3 hours, and they are given only 2 days, and in those 2 days, they have about an hour and a half and maybe a 2 hour, where then they have to come up with a 15-minute presentation on a real life situation. So this one was on a post-fire forest health assessment in Buchanan State Park. They were given a bunch of background information. They were told about how to fund it, where would they find it. They had to go out and actually go to the site and figure out, did this particular company do the correct job in their management practices, and all of that kind of stuff. And they got some of the best scores I've ever had. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, started in 2005 with this competition. They outcompeted all the schools over 20 points to get first place. So they definitely did that. They're gonna go in April to the championship in, where is it? El Dorado Hills, yep. So I'm gonna do you guys wanna talk at all? I know you guys, your time is very. Do you wanna talk?
Sure.
All right, I'll let you guys talk.
We'd love to hear you.
Okay, so what we went about was first, this was nothing I've ever done before, so it was completely different for me. Our field test was like learning how to do new things that I've, like I said, never done before. And then from that, we collected the data and turned it into a project, which we all had to work together in a way to find research and work with the foresters to make a project, which then we got to present. Yeah, like it was really cool. I mean, it's intense. I've never had that much stress to do a project in like 2 days, but yeah.
I guess I'll say something. Exactly like Stella said, it was an amazing experience, and there was so many like career, like I don't really want to go into forestry as much, but it opened my eyes to so many like more like career paths I could take, and it was just such a fun experience, and we're so lucky to have participated.
Okay. This was probably, yeah, thanks. Okay. This was probably my like favorite time competing because it was all women and I loved that. And we just had so much energy and we loved proving that we can be fun and still like win something. And that was really, it was really, okay, I'm gonna say something really embarrassing. I cried my first year because I was so stressed about the presentation, but this year I got to cry about winning, and it was really embarrassing, sorry, but it was really nice.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
The last thing I want to say is they do not get a grade for this. This is all extracurricular. And they do enough work that they probably could write a decent presentation and actually get a decent grade on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh.
You're in.
Thank you. And now we come to our board reports, item number 9. So let's begin with Brasida and Frida.
Hello, my name is Frida. Unfortunately, Brazeda could not make it today, so I will be representing Liberty High School alone. Good evening, President Grubbs, Superintendent Calabrese, fellow trustee and board members. It's our pleasure to be here tonight representing Liberty High School. For the month of November, we will be recognizing Native American Heritage Month. Yesterday, including myself and Brazeda, visited the California Native American History Museum in Sacramento. We will also be exploring Native American artists, activists, and the invaluable contributions of Native peoples that have shaped our country today. Last week, students from Liberty High School volunteered and cleaned up parts of the city cemetery. We want to thank the city, especially Mr. Jamie and Mrs. Mila, for working with us to make this happen. Last Monday at Liberty, we walked to the end of First Street Pier carrying our marigolds, which is a flower, gold flower, which is very present in the Mexican culture during Dia de los Muertos. There we paused to reflect on those who are no longer with us and honored our loved ones with photos, symbols, or personal thoughts as a part of our Dia de los Muertos ofrenda. Next week, we will celebrate Ruby Bridges Day to honor her courage and legacy in the civil rights movement. Throughout the week, the students will engage in learning activities across all classes, including art, film, and journalism, that promote civil rights education, highlight the importance of equality and inclusion, and inspire positive changes in our community. For our Learning Through Interest program, we have had many opportunities planned. We will be visiting BHS medical careers classes, which I attended today, very informational. I learned how to draw blood, very cool. Going to see the Monkey King Opera in San Francisco, tour the Solano County Courthouse in Fairfield. Thanks again to Trustee Hirsch, appreciate it. And we will have a Solano Community College outreach counselor come talk to our students about enrolling in community classes next semester. On behalf of Liberty High School, thank you.
Good evening, President Grubbs, Superintendent Calabrese, fellow trustees, and cabinet members. In the past weeks, Benicia High School's improv team had their first show on the 24th of October. The week after that, the debate team hosted the first debate week of the year from the 27th through the 30th. New and returning debaters developed their argumentation and public speaking skills. Also on the 27th, there was a winter sports info meeting, and on the 28th, our talented advanced dance team performed at the Warriors game, which they did great at. On the 30th, leadership hosted a trunk or treat event, and the event was successful with community members and students alike showing up and voting for their favorite car. On Halloween, leadership hosted a costume contest in the quad, and the evening after that, the football team won a critical game, sending them to playoffs. This week, leadership is hosting the first Students' Choice Spirit Week. Students voted on their favorite spirit days and lunch activities, and this week consists of the top 4 choices in each category. Monday was Meme Day, Tuesday was Teacher-Student Swap Day, Wednesday was Anything But a Backpack, and today is Adam Sandler Day. Tomorrow, students will wear red, white, and blue in support of our school district's veterans, and we will have a Veterans Day ceremony at lunch in the quad. Also Monday, November 3rd, was the first day of winter sports season. Yesterday, on Wednesday the 5th, our band had a free fall concert, and this Saturday, November 8th, our band will go to Merced for the Central California Band Review, and Sunday the 9th is the last day to sign up for AP exams. In the upcoming weeks, we have no school on Monday or Tuesday to honor our veterans. The following Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll have a 6-period bell schedule. On November 13th, leadership is hosting the Fall Blood Drive with sign-ups ending tomorrow. Also on the 13th is the National Letter of Intent Signing Day event at lunch in the gym. Finally, the 14th is Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day with a 7:30 a.m. meet time at 9th Street Park. On behalf of Benicia High School, thank you.
It's been a long meeting already, so if you ladies would like to carry on with your evening, you're welcome to do so. And now we come to our superintendent reports. Thank you.
Thank you. I really should coordinate with our student reports and see what they're presenting on, because I always feel like I'm going to be redundant. But mine includes pictures, so but they said it so well, what's been happening in the Benicia School District since our last meeting. Never mind, I do have it. So it was camp day at Robert Semple Elementary School, and I got to see these students engaged in all sorts of activities. They're analyzing bugs, looking at different things in nature, and one of our very own PE teachers was out there playing his guitar. And then while I was at this table here, a former student of mine said, "Hello, Mr. Calabrese." So she was my student many years ago, her and her husband, so that was awesome. They just moved here 6 months ago to Benicia. I told them they made an excellent choice. So super excited to see them. It is a small world. And then some educational leaders from the county came out and walked Robert Semple to see the things that are happening there. And it was an exciting time to be able to share the work that is being done instructionally with our students. I clearly did not take remote controls in class. So this is Mary Farmer Elementary School, the Harvest Festival. I gotta say, for the size of Mary Farmer, I feel like every classroom was represented, every parent was there. And it was a super fun event. There was a chili cook-off. I was excited because I was a judge, and anytime there is food for me to taste, I am there. And it was an exciting event, and so I just wanted to share that. But also, this event, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. There we go. There you go, Leslie. Thank you. I can't be taught. I have it upside down backwards. There we go. Mary Farmer Elementary ribbon cutting. This is the bridge open ribbon cutting and the Falcon flyover. So our students gave speeches, and as they read what has been named the Falcon flyover, the crowd just absolutely cheered. And so it was a fantastic event, and I just want to give a shout out to Barris, Amelia, and Zoe, who are our student speakers. And then also I want to thank Principal Fleming for her work on this. And so it was a great event, and I'm excited to see that our students are using it, the bridge that it creates in our community, and also to keep our students safe. Joe Cella, what a great event. Came out here on Saturday. That is Cliff from our Liberty High School playing guitar. What a great voice he has. I missed the other band, unfortunately, also connected to our staff here. Unfortunately, I did buy some tickets and I did not win a single thing. And my wife wanted to know where that $40 went. And I was like, went to a good cause, but she was really hoping for a basket. And then here is our office staff as the Joe Henderson Elementary, the party animals. And as they had a safari in the office there. Lots of fun watching the parade and seeing kids engage in Halloween. Okay, the ringmaster himself. It's just really supposed to be about kids, but when you have Steven Slater dressed up like that, it was just incredible. And then that Rubik's Cube brought back great memories of elementary school for myself, and that looked like a homemade project right there, and it was just really cool. But I also shout out to Matthew Turner, their Season of Given Hope Pack Drive. And so they're gathering items to support Solano County's foster children. And so items are due by November 20th, and I just want to thank them for their work there. We got to celebrate this week Rotary Teacher of the Month, Paul Hanna. He is our middle school band teacher. And if you have not heard our middle school band play, you need to, and close your eyes because you will not believe they're a middle school band. They don't really sound like a high school band, in my opinion. They are so competitive. They're fantastic musicians and just super impressive. This is also at Benicia Middle School, the Ofrenda, created by our BMS art students for Dia de los Muertos. And so it was just a beautiful tribute and created by our art students there. Liberty High School. So I got to enjoy their costume contest for Halloween. Great participation there. Our teachers were dressed up also and was fantastic. One of our teachers was Forrest Gump, and he was in character all day long. Yeah, he told me I had comfortable shoes. So, and then our students went out to Solano Community College and was able to see their emergency medical services program there. And then in addition to that, this is a tour of the Insulators Union. And so that career, school to career piece is just so important. And so I just want to acknowledge the work that's being done there. You heard about Trunk or Treat, and absolutely fantastic. I want to give a shout out to the Martinez family for representing us. There's Georgina there, and our students had a great time. And then, I have to say that I think Principal Kleinschmidt is the #1 person to dress up in a costume this year, representing all of our principals. It feels like every third time I'm out at Benicia High School, she is in some sort of costume. So a shout out to her for always participating with the students. And then to continue with Benicia High School and celebrating our students here. So bottom left-hand corner is our students are with Mr. Shields there, and they're in Las Vegas at the Specialty Equipment Market Association conference. So if you're a gearhead, then you know what that is. And so those are aftermarket parts for cars and tools. And so really great experience for our kids to be able to participate. You heard about our Benicia High dancers at the, I just went blank, oh my gosh, Chase Center. And so they did a phenomenal job. And if you have not heard, our Benicia High School Panthers have won league. And so huge shout out to them. And I did not get a picture, but I do want you to know JV flag football also went undefeated this year. Yeah. And then our food service team, I can't say enough about them. This was a farmer's market that they held, and then here they are dressed up for Halloween. I got to spend part of the day today at the central kitchen and meet them and have some jambalaya and talk to our team there. And what a dedicated group of individuals. I told them that they make a difference in children's lives, and they're not only feeding them, but they're also feeding their soul. Kids look forward to seeing this team every day, and they check in on them. As one leader said, she's like, I'm not allowed to give them a hug, but I just kind of give them a shoulder and lean into them. And sometimes that's exactly what a student needs, and so I appreciate them so much. There was a magical cafeteria lady that was in my life when I was in junior high school, and she did wonders for me, and so I celebrate this crew here. And then as you've heard, Friday, November 14th, Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day. I just think this is a wonderful event and how this community comes out to support it. So as you all know, 6-year-old Ruby Bridges stepped into history books on November 14th, 1960, when she became one of the first students to integrate William Frantz Elementary School in New Orleans, Louisiana. Since 2018, students have celebrated Ruby's courage by walking to school, making Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day the perfect opportunity to teach children about civil rights movement and make connections to our ongoing collective efforts to end racism. And so if you come out and please join us. And then last in the news, our local schools earned spots on 2025 honor roll. So Mary Farmer and Robert Semple were recognized by this organization. Quite frankly, we weren't sure who this organization was. Georgina and I both Googled them to find out if there was a pay-to-play kind of a process here, but we celebrate the fact that they recognize Mary Farmer and Robert Semple for the work that they are doing. And I apologize that I did not capitalize Semple. It's totally on me. The English teacher just caught me. So anyways, that concludes my superintendent's report. Great things happening in our district.
Thank you. We now come to our board reports, and I'd kind of like to start, if that's okay. Last week, I had the pleasure to visit Mary Farmer, and I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Ms. Fleming. We spent most of our time on the playground. She took me down and showed me the new bridge and the new pathways. I had a little deja vu moment with outdoor recess and balls flying around. And I have to tell you that Rhonda has great reflexes. Boom, and she catches those balls. The tour of the bridge was really interesting. And Farmer also has this, and has had for years, a great shade structure. So I would like to see those, and I talked about it at another meeting I was at last week, but our elementary schools are in need of shade, and so there's a wonderful example there. And then I went up to Henderson, and I want to thank you to Mrs. Belanti, because she took me all around the school. I got to see some of the kindergarten classrooms and the TK classroom, and also she showed me the wellness centers and just took me on a lovely tour. And we had it was just such a nice, delightful day. And then the next day, I was involved with Yanni, in the facilities meeting. And I want to give a shout out to Roxanne Egan and the rest of the committee members who were there. It was really it's an interesting meeting, when you're dealing with facilities and all the laws and the rules that go along with it, and the different perspectives as well. So it was an interesting meeting and reviewing ongoing projects, Measure C projects. There were great discussions and cooperation within the team, and it's a fairly significant team. I love the way that clarifications were made. There were many questions that were asked. There were lots of clarifications, lots of teamwork. And in that meeting, I also spoke about, or asked about, getting shade structures on, especially elementary school campuses, because those kids are running around on the blacktop, and as we know, blacktop absorbs heat, and it gets very hot out there. I was also pleased to hear about the update for the BHS PAB, and then there were these drainage issues that was really very fascinating for me to learn about. And then there was the opening of the Falcon flyover. That was a day or so after. Anyway, so that was a beautiful community event. There were so many people. It was a beautiful sunny day, but it was more than just wait across the street. it was a way, a symbol of what happens when we all work together. It's safer for students, but it's also safer for our community members. So I wanted to thank all that were involved in making this this cooperative effort that led to the building of something strong, safe, and lasting for our students and the community at large. And last but not least, and this is really important to me that you know this, I want to thank all of the people who emailed us, but I want to speak just from my point of view. My email blew up in the last few weeks, and I want to thank these people because all of you, they were so polite. They were so respectful, so kind. The emails from staff and community members, they were really so important. I want to thank everyone for reaching out. You need to be able to reach out to us. It is important to hear from you. Your emails were professional, courteous, respectful, and concise. I mean, none of them really went on for, 3 or 4 pages, but they were informative. And so I really want to thank you and let you know that you've been heard. We hear you. And again, it's building bridges, right? It's part of that information gathering. And I tried to answer as many as I could, but I know that I missed some, especially the ones that came in today. And I feel I fell short on that, and I do apologize for those that I didn't get to. But again, thank you for your emails. They were important. Thank you.
I don't know how I can follow that up. That was very well said, President Grubbs. I went to one event this last session, just one. I attended last night the fall band concert at the high school, and it was terrific. Please come out and see our bands. They're really something, really high quality of music, and that's it. And yes, just as President Grubbs had said, thank you everybody for emailing us, communicating. One thing that I will add is that we can't comment on a lot of the items that people have emailed us about, and it's just as frustrating for us as it is for you. So it's just part of closed session rules. But thank you for all of the communications.
I just want to echo what the both of you said about the letters. We got a lot of letters, emails, and I think I answered everybody's except for this afternoon's till now. But, I appreciated hearing your points of view related to the situation, and I want to thank you for that. And that's really all I have to say.
I have a few updates, but I will preface to say that I was not at the last board meeting, so there's more that, have come since the past month or the past couple of weeks. To give some updates, I attended the UC Berkeley School of Education event, which focused on holistic admissions and financial aid. It was really interesting. Local district superintendents and board members were invited. I had the opportunity to meet with a board member in Vacaville, which is really great. So being able to, shake hands with some people in Solano County was really good. So if anybody's interested in learning more, happy to share that information. As Cece mentioned, I attended the District Facilities Committee meeting. And then attended quite a bit of events, BMS Viking Night, did Joe Henderson Hound Hustle, Joe Cella, and attended the Halloween dance, and that's a fundraiser that the 5th grade team puts on for outdoor education. So that was really fun. And then went to the high school trunk or treat, and that was really cool. The last thing I wanted to say was I just want to give a shout out to our Bite Improv team, to family night, date night, girls' night. You should go. It's such a great evening. It's so much fun. So their next show is on the 21st of November. I encourage people to attend. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to item number 10, comments from members of the public. Members of the public may address the board at a regular board meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Speaker cards are available at the entrance table. Please note the item you wish to speak to and submit a card to the board secretary. The board president will call all the open session general comments, Government Code Section 54954.3, during the public comment item. Comments on items on the agenda will be called for the specific item. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, or the board may limit the total time to 20 minutes per item with the timer displayed on the monitors. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment period, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda of the governing board. Please be reminded to keep your comments respectful, as students may be watching the board meeting. Thank you. So our first speaker is Joan Westerman.
Hello, board. Thank you so much for the time you gave the dozens of people, students, parents, community members that showed up. And in the interest of your evening, I am not going to read into the record the email that you all received from us, but I did want to tell the 42 people who signed it, I'm giving it to them, okay? And this was a collective effort. You wouldn't have wanted to see my first draft. It was a disaster. But there were things that people added to this, they took out from this. And I also wanted to mention that probably not everything is in here because we couldn't think of it all. And I also, Ms. Kleinschmidt pointed out to me earlier when she read it, not all of these things did he do in this year or even in 1 year. This is 25 years of service. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll give you a copy of this.
Thank you. Thank you. And we have approval of our consent calendar. We do have 2 more speakers, but they are speaking to a particular item. So I will be calling them at that time.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as written.
I'll second.
Oh, there were 12B, both of them.
Yes.
Roll vote. So President Grubbs? Yes. Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Mascali?
Yes.
And Trustee Manasseh?
Yes.
Thank you. So, and moving on,
We also have resolutions under the consent calendar. They have to be roll called separately.
they are further down the line. Correct? We have,
This one is H.
yes, but we are at B, acceptance of gifts to the district.
Sorry?
We're at item 11B, acceptance of gifts to the district.
Did we just vote on the consent calendar?
Yeah, we voted on the consent calendar, we just have to do the resolution.
Yes, so I'm just going to do a roll call on each resolution. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I wanted to thank the people who donated.
Yeah.
It's item,
Gotcha. Sorry about that.
okay, so I'll go on. I want to acknowledge the following gifts to the district. The Blackbaud Giving Fund has donated a total of $450 to Benicia High and Matthew Turner. So thank you very much for your generous donation. Also, the Charities Aid Foundation of America has donated a total of $60 to Benicia High. The Shutterfly Life Touch donated $521.05 to Robert Semple. Thank you so much for that. And the Rotary Club of Benicia donated $100 to Robert Semple for the Teacher of the Month. And I want to give a particular thank you to Michael Barnes for an in-kind donation of a Marcus Miller 5-string bass guitar with electronics with an estimated value of $700 to the Benicia High School Band. Thank you so much for all of your generous donations. And now we can go on. Now we go to the resolutions. Approval of resolution number 25-26-18, declaration of obsolete items from Benicia High School.
President Grips?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
Trustee Manosky?
Yes.
And item I, approval of resolution number 25-26-19, declaration of obsolete items for Benicia High School.
President Grips?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Manosky?
Yes.
And approval of resolution number 25-26-27, authorizing signatures for child care documents.
What was the number you read?
Oh, 25-26-21. And the CCTR for the fiscal year of 2026 and 27.
President Grips?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Manosky?
Yes.
You know, can I, a point of order? Some of the items on the approval are things that we haven't gone into closed session with. It would be item number number 11K. Right? So, yes. So those are things that I guess we need to take out of the approval because we haven't.
Can we approve it in closed session and then,
You're referring to K?
I'm preferring, yes. The ratification, so it,
It's not a current negotiated item, that, you're bringing that back, correct? Is-
Yes, the reason why it's going as a ratification is that a previous agreement had been approved by the board for 12-month employees, and this one, we left off our 11th-month employees. There were 9 people that had been left off of that previous agreement around payment of Juneteenth in 2021 and 2022, so that's why it's on consent as opposed to being a separate action item.
okay, so then it's, so since it hasn't been, so would we have discussed that in closed session? Was it on today's agenda to discuss in closed session? No.
No.
So we're just approving?
Yes.
Okay.
Had there been questions on that particular item, we could have pulled it from consent and discussed it and then voted on it.
All right, so, going on, we are to item number 12, presentations and communications, so,
Well, do we need to approve that, Kay?
no, it was in the, yeah, it's in the consent calendar. So, Ms. Rice, you're up. Oh, wait, sorry, wait, no, wait. 12B. So no, we're at 12A. We're at 12A. Okay. Yeah, it was at 12, but we're at 12. Okay.
You ready
Hello.
for me?
Yes.
Oops, let me adjust this. All right. Good evening, board, cabinet, and Benicia community. My name is Stephanie Rice, and I am Director of Education Services, and I am here to share with you tonight, give you some updates on where we are with our professional learning and our support across Benicia Unified. Some of the highlights I will share, I will start with our 5-year professional learning plan, and I will drill down to that individualized support that we provide. Starting here, you'll see our 5-year professional learning plan. It is linked for you, and you can also find it on our Benicia Unified website under Educational Services and Professional Learning. And this was created at the end of last year, and it was built upon 3 guiding principles. It was founded on our 4 LCAP goals, our core beliefs, as well as our professional learning community foundations. And what you'll see here, I have a snapshot of what you would see on the website. You'll see all 5 years going out to year 2030. On the left, you'll see strategic pillars. So we've broken it down into our academic instruction, our social-emotional learning, as well as our equity. And under that, you'll see goals. So by instituting this professional learning, where are we wanting to be by 2030? For example, under the first strategic pillar, academic instruction. By 2030, all instructional decisions will be made through collaborative analysis of relevant data, resulted in targeted instruction that meets the needs of all students. And as you read this professional learning plan, you'll see that our professional learning connects academics, social-emotional learning, and equity. What you'll see here too is our targeted professional learning that we have planned for each year. You'll also see some arrows signifying that that work doesn't end that year. It's going to continue on, and you may see in outer years that there'll be additional targeted instruction in order for us to meet our targeted goal, by 2030. Now, how do we do this? We have professional learning days that we have twice a year, and that is district-wide. And those are special days because we get to come together as a true community across our district, from our teachers, our administrators, our maintenance and operations, food services, office staff, everyone's invited. And we start off in the PAB at Benicia High School, and the center photo you see here in the middle shows the group gathered in the PAB, and that's where we launch our welcome. This year it started off by our former superintendent, Janice Adams, and Cece Grubbs, our president, set the tone for the year by welcoming us to the new school year. And then we always have a keynote speaker, and this year we utilized our site leaders, some are in the audience now, as well as our district leadership to really launch the professional learning community work that we were starting this year, as well as some videos from our teaching staff, elementary, middle, and high school, giving testimonials of what they were excited about to do this work. Below that, you see the learning going on that day. We have our middle school teachers deep in the work of identifying essential standards, which is part of the foundations of our professional learning community. To the left of that, then you'll see our pre-K and TK teachers coming together collaboratively to dig deep into the learning foundations. And we were partnering with the Solano County Office of Education to do this work. Above that photo in the upper left, you see our Benicia High School working on their professional learning community work. I believe they were establishing their norms at that time. All the way over to the right, the photo at the top, this is actually from spring of last year, but I wanted to highlight how our office staff works together on training, on safety, and all the ins and outs that we need to get the year started. We also often tap into our teachers. This has Mr. Keppen and Miss Anouk, and they were training in CPR. And then below that shows how we come together as district-wide teams. This is all second and third grade across the district, being led by Principal Rhonda Fleming, and doing the deep dive into essential standards and depth of knowledge work. Some other ways to meet those goals by 2030 on our professional learning goals. We have different approaches to professional learning. We offer small professional learning sessions we call bite sessions. We've done some in person, some virtual. This year, some teachers recommended that we do some slide presentations with video overviews so they can watch it on their own time. We just shared one on student-led conferences as some teachers reached out to want us to try that in elementary and wanted some support, so we created that and put that out. After we share that out, we always house it on, you see the top picture is our professional learning tools Padlet. It's in alphabetical order by columns. It has information from our student information system to CASP testing to curricular things, really anything that a teacher reaches out and wants support in, and we find that it would be valuable for everyone. We create something and we post it here. So we always tell teachers, especially our new teachers, when in doubt, go to the Padlet, and if that doesn't make sense, come and ask, right? Underneath that, you'll see a picture on the bottom left that captures us bringing together our district-wide teams. We do a lot of bring together our elementary teachers because we have 4 elementary sites that feed into 1 middle school and then 1 comprehensive high school and then Liberty. So we find it really important to make sure we're aligned across our district and unified in our approach. In the center, this signifies some of our summer learning that we did. We took some high school teachers, high school principal, VPs not pictured in here, and we did a deep dive into the learning by doing, which is the foundation of our professional learning community work, as well as we provided a space for CPM trainers, that's our math curriculum at elementary and middle school, that our teachers were able to attend, but also teachers around the region, so there are multiple perspectives at the table. And then I also was approached by our TK teachers, and they wanted to come together because this was the first year that we were going to be starting with some 3-year-olds. And they wanted to come together and do a deep dive into the learning foundations and have that time to connect. So we did that this summer as well. Also, some of this learning is happening through meetings and committees. We have several different committees and opportunities to learn professionally across our district. In the middle photo and the photo on the right, you'll see photographs of our admin team at our admin retreat. And don't let the name retreat fool you. It was lovely, but it was a lot of work going on. We also have admin council, district-wide PLC committee. We just met this past week to where we have representatives across our district coming together to talk about what's going on at their site level for PLCs and where we should move as a system. So we have voices from teachers and admin across the district on that team. Also new to us this year is the SIP committee that's supporting innovative practices. And we were actually chosen to participate in this grant from this committee. Some districts are told they have to participate because they're not performing. But we chose to seek them out to give that support so we could work together as a district-wide team, teachers, administrators, classified staff, general education, special education, to really focus in on inclusive practices and meeting the needs of all students. So we're really excited about that work this year. And then also I want to highlight that we have teachers both at the middle and high school level representing our district for the county, for the region, participating in statewide wide professional learning and giving feedback both in science and in math. So that's really exciting that we have that representation. We also support leadership development, and we do that through We do that through our learning walks, and that's something we started last year. That's been really powerful to bring admin from district level to all site levels coming to really celebrate the work that's going on at each of our schools. So we sit down with the principal of that school, we hear what their best practice focus is for that year, as well as the district-wide focus. And then we go into classes and do observations, and we're really looking for evidence of those best practices so that we can then organize that and see how it fits under our 4 professional learning community questions to be able to share back that evidence with their site. And that's been really powerful and exciting, and we've seen a lot of growth from last year to this year, both in the collaboration of the administrators doing the observation as well as the growth across all the sites. We also support sites by either co-facilitating or co-planning staff meetings. We partner with the English Learner Advisory Committee at sites. Last year we had a really strong new administrator boot camp, which we will be starting up soon this year, and then we do one-on-one check-ins. And in the photos all the way to the left, you'll see evidence of the learning walk. The bottom picture is observing our pre-K, and you're seeing their focus of developing language, and they were doing that through a sensory table. And to see the teacher facilitate the conversation just by plopping in, you know, how does that feel? And the kids talking about it. What does it make you think of? And just the rich language that came out of that with our 3-year-olds was amazing. And if you have not experienced the 100th day of school at a kindergarten, where kindergartners have to count out 100 beads and then thread them for their fine motor development on a string to make a necklace, you've not experienced it yet. It was amazing. It was highlighting the excitement, engagement, and patience of our teachers, and it was just beautiful. And above that, that photo is of a boogie board, and this is in a 1st grade class, and the teacher holds up a 10 frame with a certain amount of dots in it for a couple seconds, and then they remove it. And the students then on their boogie board, which is a very upgraded whiteboard and very exciting, have to put what number they saw and then how they saw it. So you can see in this photo that the students saw 8 dots, and how they saw it was in a group of 6 and a group of 2. And she drew the 6 off to the side to signify that she saw the 6 first. And I snapped the picture before, then she circled the 2 on her 10 frame, and that's how she illustrated it and explained it to the group. And another student shared that they saw a 10 frame with 2 missing, and that's how they knew it was 8. So they're sharing their different strategies and different ways to get to the problem. And then the last picture here highlights our middle school, and this was a math lesson. And they were doing the launch of our CPM math, and you can see the students gathering around, all looking at a data set. They turned and talked to a partner about what they noticed, what they wondered, and they shared, and you can just see the engagement across the board at all sites. Another real intentional focus is on early learning, and that's across the state. Pre-K through 3. We as a district are also really highlighting this, and we've provided professional learning for our admin team training on our pre-K and TK. We've had the teachers train together on the learning foundation and what is called productive play, giving the kids the space to explore on their own and being really a facilitator and not the person guiding the learning, right? And then we also supported through a parent night. We had one last year. We're going to have another one this year before registration. It is focused on pre-K, TK, and K, where we had teachers available to showcase and highlight some of the things the kids would experience. We also had our special ed directors there, our student services, and they had tables there to register people on site. And then I presented with our county office on the importance of productive play and how parents can engage in that as well. It was very well received. Our teachers are asking to do it again, so by popular demand, it will be back this year. Also on the right, I just want to highlight, through that learning, we invited Vallejo, our sister district, to partner with us so that we can have perspective from not only our district, but from Vallejo as well. And then narrowing it down to our individualized teacher support. Before school starts, we provide support for our new teachers across the district. We partner with HR, they work with the teachers in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we get them and we go over what we call nuts and bolts. What do they need to really start off their year? Do you have your device? Do you know how to access your email? Let me show you how we communicate through Parent Square, grading, because they'll need to do that soon. We give NWEA within the first 2 weeks. So we share a lot, but the biggest thing is giving face-to-face of we're here to support you. And we let them know how to connect with all the different departments for support, and when in doubt, come to Ed Services and we'll direct you where you need to go. And then myself and our new teacher support, TOSA, Colleen Leong, make appointments with each individual new to the district teacher to have a face-to-face one-on-one. We wait until a month into school to start these meetings so teachers can share what's going well, what questions, what can we help you with, and it's been really well received. And then again, not just our new teachers, but teachers across the district are receiving individualized teacher support from our district TOSAs. This is just a small list to highlight, from classroom management to model lessons to planning, etc., that they've done so far this year. And several of these things, they've created resources, again, that we've put on the Padlet for all to share. And then lastly, I want to highlight a support across our district, which at the elementary level is a Tier 2 support. The important piece, though, is to make sure that we're supporting all the students across our district equitably. So we've really worked hard to align all 4 sites in their practice of their MTSS Tier 2 support by providing training to our specialists and our assistants, as well as creating a way for them to communicate both with the teachers and families with the supports that they're providing. So to wrap this up, a lot of work going on across BUSD, as you've seen. We have continued professional learning to do with our extraordinary teachers and employees, and supporting the us in BUSD is just a strong focus for us moving forward, and as you've seen, for the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the staff that participated as well in these learning items. And I think you talked about learning walks, right? Okay. I don't know if any of my colleagues have done that. I've done that before with some staff, and it's incredible to go on a learning walk with staff at the schools. Just FYI.
Can I ask some questions? Can I ask some questions? Okay. This is incredible. I mean, this is professional development. Wow. I mean, I'm impressed. It's really, really great. I'm curious to learn a little bit more about like logistics of some things. So particular, I know that teachers are so strapped for time, and the week is crazy, and just finding time to probably do professional learning. How does that come about? Do you work with the sites in order to, do you go to staff meetings and talk to them? When do they have the time to do this?
Yes and yes and yes. And that's, I look back at our admin back there, that's the biggest challenge, right, is time. And so getting feedback from teachers, for example, we were offering some professional learning, and that would be for elementary and middle that have early release. And we had feedback from some teachers like, I really want to participate, but I have a lot to do. So that's where we pivoted and started creating the videos to accompany the slides. So if they couldn't come there, they can watch that. And then we always offer, if you want a wing person, reach out. We'll come co-do things with you, model, or plan. So we've you know, we've tried to add different avenues for people to be able to access that. And then, like we talked about, the admin teams that we work with, because now our admin are providing professional learning through their staff meetings. So we come together as a whole admin team, then they break off and do the professional learning with their sites through their staff meetings. So it's moved from a lot of, you know, what's coming up to really deep professional learning and saving that for more emails, et cetera. And then, yes, we have limited, but our 2 full day professional learning where we have across the site to come together on our focus.
Is that like is that before school, like you were talking about?
August, and then we have one January 20th. You're all invited to attend, or at least for the welcome. And our new superintendent is going to do our launch there. Thank you. So it's always exciting to be able to have that time to come together across the districts.
Yeah.
So it's several different ways. We offer, there's trainings through the Solano County Office of Ed. We'll offer after school, but you have to offer it several different ways because
Right.
of the time.
If someone is like misses it or isn't able to go at a certain time, do they talk with you and you?
It
how
depends
does
on
that
who's
work?
giving it. So they may be working with their site admin. Yes, they can always reach out, and then we, again, through any district-wide initiative type things, we then put it on our Padlet. And then different site admin, like I just presented at a Matthew Turner staff meeting, they'll reach out to have that partnership that way.
Do teachers have like continued education credentials that need to be done? You know, like lawyers have that, educators in higher ed have that. Does our professional learning, does that count for anything? Does that happen?
You want to jump in on the HR end, or she's looking at me?
That's a great question. There used to be a time in order to renew your credential, you had to do so many hours of professional development that you'd have to make a plan and you'd have to have someone sign off on it, but that no longer is the case. Most districts do. Most districts do a pretty robust job, as you've just heard Stephanie share, of professional development. So, I mean, that seems to be the way most teachers learn about new techniques, best practices, is through the professional development that's offered in their district.
And then teachers, through their hours of professional learning, can translate to their hours or units of moving over on the salary schedule. And I didn't highlight that, but we do have a team of teachers participated in the Science of Reading Academy, which is a huge commitment. We are able to give them a stipend with partnering with a Benicia community member to do that, but they also can put it towards their moving on the salary schedule. So there's different ways there, and I am glad we don't have to keep track of all of our things anymore like we used to.
Thank you for teaching me that.
Yeah. Is that it? Anything else?
Not for me.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
the time
you.
to present.
Thank you. So now we come to item 12B, and we have 2 speakers. Our first speaker is Alex DeLeon.
Hi, let me scoop up. Good evening. My name is Alex DeLeon, and I am the PTG president at Robert Semple. I'm here tonight to address the facility use fees that have been implemented for all parent-teacher groups. So I'm speaking on behalf of Semple's PTG. We are deeply concerned that the district appears to be relying on PTGs to cover expenses that should fall under the district's responsibilities. At Robert Semple, our PTG doesn't just organize events and activities that enrich our students' experiences, but we also fundraise for essential needs such as paper, playground equipment, and classroom supplies, including calming corners that all classrooms have now. It's important that the entire board understands exactly what we are fundraising for and what our fundraising supports. So a recent example comes from our Harvest Festival last month. Just a few weeks prior to that event, staff reached out to PTG asking if we could purchase a new laminator because the previous one had broken, and the district had said that they would not cover that because it isn't a necessity, basically. And a laminator might seem small, but if you're a teacher, it is a very vital tool for the classroom. We decided to fundraise for it during the Harvest Festival because, as you know, like, we can't just pull $2,300. We have a budget for everything, as you all know. So the budget, or the laminator, costs $2,350, and at our Harvest Festival, we made $2,400. So we literally had made just enough to cover the laminator. However, we were charged $450 in facility use fees, so that cut into our laminator purchase. So it just, one of the examples, but facility use fees reduce our fundraising capacity for needs just like that. Charging parent-teacher groups for facility use feels counterproductive, as all of the efforts that we do are dedicated to support students, teacher, and staff. With the work and the budgets of all of the PTGs at the elementary schools, I think we can all agree that our schools in Benicia would be lacking many of the essential resources that help the students thrive. And because of this, I do ask you to reconsider charging parent-teacher groups facility use fees. Thank you.
Can I just say, I'm very sorry to hear that. I am very sorry to hear that. I'm kind of shocked. Our next speaker is Brianne Marshall. Really?
Hi, I'm Brianne Marshall, and I am speaking on behalf of the Joe Henderson PTG this evening. Previously, I came to a board meeting to say that that our event for Joe Cello is being charged $800 for custodial fees, and I came to report that that indeed was charged. Our credit card's on file, so that charge went through. And while I understand somebody needs to pay those fees, like absolutely the custodians need to be paid, and it's a necessary service, you know, as parent-teacher groups, we're being asked, as budgets are tighter for the schools, we're being asked to cover more. As Alex mentioned, you know, paper, classroom supplies, and so on one hand, we're being asked to help lift the school up more, and on the other hand, we're also being not punished, but charged more to do that. So I understand, like, for us, it's outside of, or for the groups, it's when it's outside of school hours. You know, Jochella is one event a year. That is the only time that we have events on a Saturday, and we are exploring different ways to kind of get creative with it. It would really limit us if we had to do it on a weekday after school. It limits who can come. You know, it would have to be within work hours because there's no lights out there. So it would just really impact the event and change the community event. And that's, you know, fundraising is a huge part of what we do, but also bringing the community together. And Jochella isn't just a school event. It's open to the entire Benicia community. So I just want to reiterate that, you know, it's, while somebody has to pay it, it just feels really counterintuitive and counterproductive to be putting the entire burden on us, especially when it's not a monthly thing or a weekly thing. It's, you know, 1 to 2 times a year. So, thank you.
So now we come to our action items. 13A, consideration and approval of language alignment.
Don't we have to go over 12B?
12B?
Yeah. We've only done public comment.
Mr. Calabrese.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Let's have your presentation. Mr. Calabrese.
Well, thank you. So I'll review the facility fees, and the goal here was you would charge me with taking a look at our facility fees, how we arrived at them, And then this is an informational item, given this presentation here. I will certainly explore the laminator issue. I do know laminators are rather expensive, and so, and they tend to go out at the most inconvenient time. So I'll look into that. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. The background here on establishing fees for facilities is established by the Civic Center Act, and that is covered underneath the Ed Code. And it authorizes school districts that they must authorize the use of facilities and grounds by nonprofit organizations, clubs and organizations to promote youth and school activities. The governing board must manage that, provide direction and control over the use of the facilities, and must establish rules and regulations. So you're essentially establishing those fees and what are the requirements around that. We have prioritized school use. So community use must not be inconsistent with the use of facilities for school purposes or interfere with the regular conduct of schoolwork. I'm gonna go see a speech teacher tomorrow, I promise. So here's our fee structure that was established. And so as you can see, the fields, the item on the left-hand side, I covered the fields at First Elementary and LHS, and then the BHS field. And so for a nonprofit, it is $25 an hour to $30 an hour. Commercial is $50 and $60. You see our stadium, obviously a higher cost there because of all that comes with the stadium. If you want lights, then there's an additional fee for that. Our BHS team rooms cost for nonprofits $30. For commercial, it is $100. And then for the tennis courts, nonprofits $14 and commercial is $28. So let me give you a comparison here. And so looking at Benicia for nonprofits, $25, and I'm just looking at field costs here. This is the only comparison I did here. Commercial groups would pay $50. So as you can see, Vallejo, it's $30 to $60. Napa, $15.19 to $30 for commercial groups. Fairfield, $8 and then $16 for commercial groups. Travis is $30 and $50. West Contra Costa, Walnut Creek Unified School District is $30 to $50, and then Martinez, $20 and $30. And so these rates were determined, how they got established here in Benicia were based on costs, but also on surrounding districts and what they were charging, and then the fields themselves. So for our stadium, this is much more unique because of the work that's been done on the stadium and the fact that it is turf. I apologize, thank you. So $150 per hour, Dixon $75, Fairfield the same price at $150. So Vallejo $205 per hour. So you get a sense of why we established our rates as it is. And these are stadium prices for nonprofits. I want to be clear about that. So our PTG rates. So there's not a charge for facilities, but there is a charge for custodial. So our custodial fees are $50 an hour if outside of the regular workday or if requested. And so as was pointed out in the public comments, if you're having an event on a Saturday, then you are charged $50 an hour. Our requirement is based on the size of the event. And so that's how many custodians we have there. Sometimes groups will ask for more than one custodian if they feel the need for it, okay? So that was what our PTG rates are at.
Is it $50 no matter how many custodians are?
No, it's $50 per custodian. Thank you, Mark. That's a great question. So, and that's $50 per hour.
Is that profit neutral, cost neutral? Because do those custodians make $50 an hour?
Yeah, I can explain that. No, our custodians don't get paid $50 an hour. Our custodians are paid anywhere from $22.50 to $29 an hour. However, there are employee costs that are associated with that. So workers' comp, benefits add into that. And so that's where that $50, why that got established at where it's at.
Is there a minimum amount of hours? Like you can't, like if you're having a two-hour event, say, and do you need to have the custodians scheduled for 4 hours? Or, is there a minimum amount of hours?
Yeah, great question. It is based on the setup time and breakup time that's established by the group, whether that's the PTG or a nonprofit or for-profit group that comes in. And we work with our maintenance team. And I do want to say that Sydney and Alfredo both helped me with this project and was able to analyze the numbers and give me The other question that Cece's asking is it a breakdown based on what the costs are, right? And that one's really, really difficult. And then my future slides, I'll get into that. But it's tough to determine how much water is going to be used, how much power is going to be used. The main piece here is the custodial fees, right? And so, and I'll share that more as we get into other slides here. Okay.
So it's kind of ironic that our PTGs who are raising money for our schools for things that our school district does not fund, like paper and, I mean, they fund some paper, but really not as much as teachers need. It's ironic that then we're charging them for helping support our schools, for monetarily supporting our schools and our students. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Well, let me get through the presentation, and you are the board, and you can charge me with next steps, and so we can take a look at that. And so I understand what you're saying. There are costs associated with renting out our facilities, right? And so, and I recognize that, and I also recognize the fact that our PTGs are fundraising for things that we can't afford. And unfortunately, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit here. This is the state we're in the state of California. And it is unfortunate that we have to rely on festivals and music festivals and cookie sales to fund education, right? And so I understand and recognize that, and it's incredibly frustrating.
It is frustrating, and I know you want to get on with your presentation. However, you know, there's that saying, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the charging PTG to support our schools. I think there's something inherently wrong with that. So yes, I'm ready to go to the mat.
So as you see, our nonprofit rates, again, charge a reduced rate, and you saw what those rates are. Custodial fees remain the same, and again, that's if outside the workday or if requested. For profit, there's a commercial rate, and then those custodial fees still apply. And again, I just want to reiterate, we don't charge for custodial fees if it is during their workday. That probably should be blown up. So our speaker here referred to Joe Cella and the cost of custodial fees there. So we had 2 custodians there. They were there for 8 hours each, and so that arrived at the $800 there. And so, and you see the cost breakdown.
That's money that is money that could go to our students.
Yep, it's taken away from our kids.
It is taken away from our kids.
As I said, we can look at solutions.
Okay.
You charged me with looking at, as an informational item, to look at why the fees were established, and so we can talk about next steps, absolutely. So fee breakdowns, we've held 473 events from January to October of 2025. So I just want to give a sense of what those costs were associated. Thank you, I'm so sorry. I'm going to give that to you, Leslie. So I can't see that, so that's why I'm looking at my screen here. I can't see the fine print all the time. So campus supervisors, $5,150. Custodial costs, $16,450. Chairs and table, $414. Energy costs, as best as we can calculate that as associated with the event, $755. Facility costs, $61,752. Obviously, the bulk of that one would be the stadium, okay? Total, $84,521 is our fee breakdown from January 2025 to October of 2025. Does that make sense?
Those are the fees we took in or our costs?
Those are the fees that we took in.
Okay.
And how those fees were acquired, basically.
Gotcha.
Okay. For the 473 events. This is just the stadium alone and the cost of running the stadium. And so you'll see the total amount there is $126,000, a little over that. And these are the costs of running our stadium. So I do want to point out that I'm not trying to make light of it, but the most enjoyable cost there is the goats. Cost us $7,300. It's a necessary, right, to clear the hillside around the stadium. That also saves our employees from having to go up there and do that work. But you see some of the associated with this. So solar cleaning, $14,084. There are some one-time costs like the paint sprayer at $11,000. There's also some ongoing costs, which include the paint. There was some repairs that were done, and so because of some damage that was done, and so those are also included in this. PG&E, $45,950. A water sewer, $6,200. Okay, just to give you a sense here.
Can I ask you?
Please.
Is there any way to break down the cost between just normal wear and tear every day, we're out there for PE doing stuff, and what the cost is from community using the facilities?
I think that would be incredibly challenging to do, but I certainly can ask my team and talk to them about that.
I'm just curious. I'm just trying to compare, because I think, and I'll let you finish, but I think the goal, or at least for me, the goal is to make sure that we're doing this in a cost-neutral way, to us, cost-neutral, and that we demonstrate that to the community, which has been really great to the school district in terms of passing bonds. So I just want to make sure we're trying to pinpoint, like, what are our actual costs, what are we bringing in, just so we can show that.
Some expenses that would be very difficult for us to be able to define, right? Maintenance and grounds, as our teams are out there working on other things besides just the fields or for that particular event. The power costs as associated with something other than the stadium, water and sewer. To give you a perspective here, this year, we spent $180,000 from January to August in water costs. I recently heard a comment when we were talking about the plaid that the city pays for our water. We pay for water and sewer, over $180,000 gone out so far from January to August. Yeah, but there was also another comment about that water was, and that was inaccurate. I just want to clarify that. Power costs so far for this district this year, January to August, is just under $400,000 in power costs. So just to give us perspective on all that. There's also bathroom toiletries, right? We don't charge for those types of things, but they obviously need to be replaced, and that's not necessarily tracked based on various events. The other piece that's hard is that a nonprofit comes in, they use our facility, and our guys aren't out there monitoring that. If they rent it for 2 hours and they're out there for 6, they're out there for 6, right? They're not charged for 6. And so it's an honor code. If you're going to rent our facility or field for 3 hours, then that's what we're charging for. And so I just want to give that perspective on this piece. What I'm looking for from you is direction as to how to move forward. I hear the piece about breaking it down more so that we can see what the cost is and get it as close to cost as possible, which I can also break down the custodial cost piece as to why it's $50 and knowing that it ranges depending on the custodian out there. And I don't think we want to get in a practice of publicizing what a particular custodian is paid, but I can certainly give the board that background. I also recognize the fact that our PTAs are fundraising for things that our schools need, right? So with that, I'll stop and ask me questions and next steps.
Let me ask a question really quick. The Facilitron fees, do our because I know the community sports teams get charged like a fee when they book online, you get charged a fee. Do the PTGs get charged the fee too to book online? No.
Sydney assures me that we do not charge the facility fees to our PTGs, just solely the custodial fee.
Oh, that's right. And Facilitron, we don't have Facilitron. We have a new, well, it's whatever system they use to sign up online. So there's a cost. Yeah, there's a
school space. Facilitron is very expensive.
Oh.
We couldn't justify it in our district.
So whatever we use, I guess that's the one I've heard of before. Do we pass that cost on to entities that are signing up on that system? Like, is there a processing fee?
The cost for the system or the cost to use your credit card?
Oh.
We do not charge people for the system. That's part of our M&O budget.
Yeah.
We cannot absorb fees because that's a gift of public funds. It's the same thing as when you put funds on your child's meal account to buy a la carte stuff. We can't fund that fee.
Okay.
So if somebody comes in and pays directly, that's a different thing, but people can contact Cindy directly.
Thank you.
If they have questions.
That's great. Thank you. So the option could be that they come and pay by check if they didn't want to pay those processing fees.
It is possible, but I don't want to speak for the process they have set up. They, people would need to reach out to Cindy.
I have questions, but if you.
I was just going to ask a quick question. 473 events in 10 months. That's a lot. And I'm kind of curious. I know there's football, softball, baseball, you know, all those, the sports, right? But what, and the fundraising that our PTGs do, which is, thank you for doing that. What are the other events that are at our school?
I can provide you with a breakdown of all of them.
That's a lot of events.
It is a lot of events.
And it seems like some of those events should be able to offset the cost to our PGGs.
Well, if, I would agree with you if they were all commercial, right? But when you're offsetting the cost for nonprofits and you're not charging PTGs except for custodial, then that's probably not the case. But I can get that breakdown too.
Thank you.
So I want to publicly say thank you for correcting my statement that PTGs do not get charged the facility fee. So thank you for that. Glad that I was incorrect. I want to come back to the table to say that I, hope that, I would like for, I guess you, Chris, to think through doing joint memos of understandings or memos of understanding for some of our particular Benicia organizations, for our parent-teacher volunteer groups, to think through, what can we do to have them sign at the beginning of the year? Maybe it's a 2-year, maybe it's more for parent-teacher or volunteer groups, to be able to essentially put a deposit, be able to get a less of a rental fee for those Benicia community organizations, and particularly our fundraising or booster clubs. Anything that has to really do with providing fundraising that goes back to our directly back to our students, directly back to our sites. Perhaps it is every school site gets one event per year that they can have, on a weekend or I'll say off school hours. So I'd like us to think sort of in bigger picture of how can we help our community events and how can we help our community organizations, because they really do. They serve our students for sure, bottom line, from our parent-teacher groups even to our community organizations that utilize our sites.
And you all know how I feel. I don't think that PTA, PTGs should be charged anything. I think there's kind of almost a moral imperative here that people who, they work so hard, they do these amazing events, but to take $800 out of their, away from kids, to pay for a laminator, it's a funny thing about education. And it's one of the only entities that people, teachers have to buy pens and pencils and reams of paper and binder paper for their students, or we ask our parents to do that, which is fine, not teachers paying, but I think if a school needs a laminator, it needs a laminator. It shouldn't be up to PTGs to raise the money for that. And yet then, if they want to have a fundraiser in order to raise the money that they shouldn't have to raise in the first place, then we're charging them to raise the money. I object. I would like to see PTAs and PTGs get the respect they deserve and not be charged. I don't care if it's a custodian. We can support our schools better. I would like to, that's what I want to see happen.
I agree with you. I think need to find a way for these folks to absorb those other fees by the district rather than themselves because of what they're doing. It's just not fair.
It's not right.
I agree as well, and and you weren't here last year, but there was something that came up with grad night, where I think grad night was being charged, and that it did get there was a technicality to that I'm just not remembering, but it's just an example of an event that our students look forward to, forever, and then it was a big shock, I think, when that happened.
Not when they checked the wrong box.
Well,
They
I
made
knew there was
themselves
a technicality,
not- Yeah,
but it was just
We did fix
something.
that.
Yeah, but just these sponsored.
They were still charged some, right?
When there's timesheets outside of the normal work day, the budget has to absorb it somewhere. So if it comes off from the unrestricted, that's where it's absorbed, so that it's something we'd have to build in.
Right.
Or it's passed along to the entity that's using our site.
No, and I know I understand, I'm sure we understand, like, this will impact our unrestricted budget, right? Definitely. So maybe what the thing to do would be to can we look at how many events are there? What would the cost to the district be to allow our PTAs, PTGs, school groups like that to have access to the sites without any charge? What would that cost be? Because I can't imagine there's too many events. I mean, each elementary has one big one.
I don't think each one does.
No, Matthew Turner doesn't.
So we have some PTA, PTG people here. How many events does Robert Semple do a year?
On the weekend, only the Harvest Festival.
Or after hours.
After hours, we do 2 fall dances, and
That's out of the general fund, isn't it?
And one option is, once we see what the cost is, we can cap it. We can say we can do this many events. I don't know. I'm spitballing, but yeah.
No, the one event per year on a
Or
weekend or
something.
whatever. Mhm.
5, whatever the cost
Well,
ends up being.
but yeah, but they're not paying the custodial fees when it's a school day.
Yeah.
And when there's custodians there.
Yeah. And another thing I also think that we could look into, as you're looking into, what does the next iteration of this look like? We have community organizations that feed our students before school, specifically the church across the street from the middle school. And I know that they've wanted to use the middle school facility, and they're, just like trying to figure out, can we consider in-kind donations? Because, they're giving us a value. So is there a method to perhaps consider that? Is in-kind the correct monetary term? I mean, when you're providing services in lieu of money, right?
I think in that situation, and Trudy can jump in, is best to do a joint use agreement, right? And so it is in-kind services, right? And it is a quid pro quo, right? So we're giving you something, you're giving us something, right? And so we're sharing that. And so there's an evaluation there. And then if it goes beyond that, then there's a charge, right? And so we can establish that. And I think that makes sense for Benicia groups, right? I think when we get beyond that's where we run into problems. And when it comes to our different types of sports out here, we're hosting other teams from other communities, and they don't quite treat our facilities the same as our own kids and families do, right? And so I think when you write a contract like that, a joint use agreement, you write that into there, right? That's the expectation, right? And I think the same thing goes for, now we're talking PTGs, that when, if we reduce custodial costs, and the expectation is that they're helping to clean up, right? Which oftentimes they are.
They are.
Right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so one of the things that I questioned in this whole process was, why did we need 2 custodians there, right? In my experience, I've typically, as a site principal, I had 1 custodian there. And then sometimes, because just, it depends on the site principal and the site leader and the needs of the event, Sometimes I just had them come at the beginning and at the end, right? It just depends on what the event is. And so, but I will also say it's important to have someone there, because if there is a water line break, if there is a fire, if there's a gas line break, right, we are held liable. And so not having someone there, not being able to respond to that in an emergency is a liability for us. So, and I don't want to always base things on a fear of being sued, but we do have to keep those types of things in consideration. So what I'm hearing you saying right now is explore the costs on the PTG and the breakdown of the custodial piece, right? And putting a cap, and what is those, also looking at the events that we have had, and what are they, how many of those were commercial, how many of that was a nonprofit, how many of that was PTG, and look at the cost breakdown based on those three categories. And then also, it sounds like an evaluation of the number of events by site for the PTG. I guess that's already covered in what I just said. So, and then further breaking down the costs of, and trying to get it as close to cost as possible. And then why don't I come back to you with options, option A, option B, option C, right? And let's explore
Awesome,
those.
that's great.
And I would also suggest that I probably put that to you in a Friday update, board update, and then that way you get to see something, ask questions of me prior to coming back to a board meeting, so that we don't keep coming back and wrestling with this issue.
Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And Southern California uses, many school districts there use joint use agreements. And it's different than an MOU, because an MOU is a memorandum of understanding. It means that you understand what's going to happen, right? It doesn't necessarily, I can't legally, correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, but you can't really legally hold someone accountable to an MOU, right? But a joint use agreement, you can.
It's a contract.
It is a contract, I suppose so, yeah. And I'll also run it by our legal department and ask them what they think on this. And I'll also reach out to some other districts that are doing that and see. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, one, we want to support Venetian groups, nonprofits, but also our PTGs and reducing the costs. Also recognizing the fact that we're going to incur some costs as a result. And so let's look at that. One of the options I may come back to you with is increasing a rate someplace else to offset. It just depends where it's at, right? So that may be a consideration.
And that might, yes.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did want to point out that our nonprofit field comparison cost is, higher than some of our surrounding areas. Napa, Martinez. So, also thinking about that for our nonprofits. And then, can we consider opening up other fields, like Joe Henderson's fields, for any of our sport organizations? I know for soccer, Robert Semple is used. There are other fields. I know the middle school, that's sort of challenge, but, could we work with a joint use agreement in terms of maybe parent volunteers would help plant some seed? I don't know, but.
I think there's an opportunity here to really use that power of these organizations to improve our facilities. Right?
Yeah.
Some of the things that are not going to be addressed with our bond issue, right?
Yeah.
And the other piece that I want to say, and sorry, Board, I'm young in this process here, but we do have an opportunity to apply for a grant, right, with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. And part of that is to address pollution and health. And I see an opportunity here that we could partner with some of our nonprofits to apply for that. And when you're planting a field and you're planting trees and bushes, you're reducing pollution. And when you have kids out running around on a soccer field or a football or flag football, that's about improving their health. And so I think there's an opportunity here as well.
That's great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? All right. So now we come to action items. And Mr. Calabrese, consideration and approval of language alignment to board bylaw 9100.
Yeah, Board Bylaw 9100 is being brought forth to align the language. And so you'd already established a 2-year term for the president, but the clerk was not, that language was not updated. And so we caught that, we sent that to you for review, and so we're bringing that forward to you tonight for consideration. And we're doing this now because of our December meeting, because of that is, right? Okay.
Are there any questions or discussion?
Mark, you've been on the board with me as long as, well, we've been together. So do you remember in the past years when somebody was going to be clerk, was it an automatic? I don't think it was an automatic move up to president. Well, didn't we sit here and go, I nominate whoever, and then it was a vote among all of us, each individual, to see. And if somebody didn't second it, then it would die and it would start again. That's how we did it, right? So somehow, I mean, I don't even know if that's in here. Hold on. Are we yeah, we are talking about the clerk and the 2 years. That's the only part that I think needs to be fixed before we approve this. And that's, again, up to my colleagues. I mean, that is how we did it. Doesn't mean it's the right way. I don't know if there's a different way that we're supposed to do it, Georgina, but that's how we did it in the past. So that's where I'm at. And it has nothing to do with you, Amy, because I
Okay, thank you. Oh, well, I just want to say, I mean, just in the last year, we didn't vote. Wait. So the last time Cece was the clerk, and then she became the president, right?
We asked her. I mean, she was asked. She was nominated.
I was nominated.
Yeah, we nominated her.
Okay.
And then we did the nomination for the clerk, and we nominated Mark, and we didn't even have a chance to do a second, and then.
Well, okay, we don't need to rehash all that, but I thought the progression was the clerk becomes the president. So if you have a 1-year term for a clerk, what you'll end up having is a president serving 2 years. The clerk who happens to be the clerk at the time the president is done with the 2 years would end up the president.
It's the second, yeah, it would be the second.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it
That's why
doesn't.
it has to be the every 2 years.
Yeah.
Unless we go back, and I remember, Sherry, when you ended up serving more because there was nobody who was going to do it. So it ended up being like a 2-year term. For yeah, whatever it was. So then it was changed to the 2 years. I mean, like if.
Which is fair.
Yeah, so
we're just aligning it.
I think you have to align it unless we totally change
I think aligning
everything.
is a good idea.
Yeah.
I think
And it is part of,
the reason it was changed is you guys wanted consistency. That there could be at least a president that served 2 years, because it takes 1 whole year to get comfortable with the position. And then that's when you discussed, then we would have the clerk move up. It wasn't how we did it before, but it was what it was agreed upon when we changed the policy.
Aligning
and CSBA does advocate for a rotation. And so that's why the alignment needs to be consistent. So is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve language alignment to Board Bylaw 9100.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, so it passes.
Okay, now we come to action item 13B, consideration approval of the 2026, 2027, and 2027, 2028 calendars. Dr. Jennings.
Good evening, President Grubbs, Board Trustees, Superintendent Calabrese, and the Benicia community. We are requesting approval of the school calendars for the 2026-2027 school year and the 2027-2028 school year. The Benicia Unified School District's Calendar Committee, which comprises representatives from the district management team, classified, certificated. They meet, they work on some drafts, and then those drafts go before the Benicia Teachers Association, and these are the drafts that were supported by the Teachers compensation, and we are presenting them here for board
I
approval.
think that there's a question in the audience.
These calendars were approved the committee met last year for the 27-28 calendar. The 26-27 calendar was approved during my predecessor's time in her position and was given to me by the previous BTA president. That is my understanding from what your predecessor, she was involved in the process. It was done in the spring, so it came as early as possible, and then I recognized that the 26-27 one had not gone to the board yet. I had to do some research to find out if it had been presented to the board, and it had not. So both of these are there. I can provide you with emails. Or you can talk to your BTA, the former BTA president. She'll be able to verify.
Do we need to pull this item then?
I don't feel that that's necessary, but if the board has
There's a
questions
question.
regarding it, then the board can make a decision around whether they want to table it for a future.
It sounds like we're a year behind, there was a skip in there. That's why there's the two of them on this particular approval.
Well, we've ratified 2 years before, but I'm wondering, I'm wondering. I vaguely remember, but I would have to know, if we came to and said it was ratified. I mean, I would trust you if you told me that.
It was, and like I said, you can always check with the previous president, because she's the one that gave me the calendars, and we had to get them ready for the board. Yeah, yes, it was shocking to me as well. That
It was a very busy spring, I have to remind you. So for the board, shall we discuss this? Do you want to pull this item? Do you want to go forward with it?
I say we go
Well, the calendar's so important.
It is, but it's very similar. They're all similar, and if they ratified it last year for 27-28, then, if we don't have the backup to it, I guess we could find it. But do you think that is a problem, Carlene? Right. Okay, so do you think the union, the union. I'll reach out to her, sure. So should we? I don't know that they're any different. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So if we vote on it tonight, and then if you find that there's a problem, and you'll let us know, and we'll have to bring it back. Okay, so is there a motion?
I move that we approve the 26, 27, and 27, 28 school calendar.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It passes.
And we come to item number 13C, consideration and approval of a MOU with Dominican University. Dr. Jennings. Dr. Jennings, you're up for a while.
I'm up for a while. If you want me, after you vote, I can just keep.
Yeah, just go ahead and go on,
Okay.
yes.
So good evening again. We are requesting the approval of this agreement between the Benicia Unified School District and Dominican University. This is regarding the placement of either student teachers or intern teachers in our schools. It just details the roles and responsibilities and in that arrangement. So we're asking approval of this item.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a, oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have a learning question.
Sure.
For C, D, and E, how many students train with us, and how do student teachers come to us? My other question is, do site administrators request a certain amount of teaching?
There are several ways that student teachers or intern teachers come to us. Sometimes when we will hire specifically for special education, you might have someone who's entering into a credential program, and so they are an intern. So then we have to make sure we have a MOU that's been board approved to allow them to continue in the program to earn their credential. So that's one way that it happens. Like, we hire them, they're working on their credential, we have to make arrangements. The other way is that for student teachers, the university may approach us, or someone who's a student teacher may reach out to human resources or a particular principal and say, I am interested in having a placement in your district, and then we have to check to make sure that we have a board-approved MOU, because with student teaching, there's certain requirements for the mentor teacher, there's certain requirements for the number of hours in a placement, and we have to make sure that we have clarity around that so that we can live up to our end of the bargain, and that we also know what the university is expecting for the student teacher.
So these are laying the groundwork to ensure that we have these on file when someone could reach out to us?
Yes, but Dominican, this particular one, we actually have a teacher that's working on their intern credential, and they have reached out to us regarding the placement of a teacher for student teaching. Okay. So in student teaching, they usually have 2 placements, one in the fall, one in the spring, for so many weeks, where they work side by side with one of our experienced teachers.
Thank you.
Are we good?
Yes.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve the MOU for Dominican University.
I'll second. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is with St. Mary's College of California. Same thing, that they have they might have some student teachers that need placement, and or we actually currently don't have any interns that are anyone working on a credential through St. Mary's.
I move that we approve the MOU with St. Mary's.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And this last MOU regarding the placement of someone who's in a training program is with San Jose State. We are very fortunate, as you may know, that speech and language pathologists are incredibly hard to find.
Oh, yeah.
And our amazing special education director made a connection with San Jose State, and so they have a trainee that they would like to place with us. So in this case, so we are obviously very excited about having someone come and be placed with us. So we are requesting approval of this MOU.
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU with San Jose State University Speech and Language Pathologist Credential Program.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, it passes.
The next MOU is with our Benicia Teachers Association, and this is for the freshman baseball coach stipend. It was not listed on the list of stipends that we have. It was either left off in error last year, so we had an MOU that came last year. Again, it was a 1-year MOU, so this year, before we can hire a freshman baseball coach, we have to have another MOU come saying that we are going to fund this particular stipend at this particular range, and that's what this one is.
I will move that we approve the MOU with Benicia Teachers Association for the freshman baseball coach stipend.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, it passes.
The next one, item up for your consideration and approval is the memorandum of understanding with the Benicia Teachers Association for a TK through third grade assessment release day. The current contract language has release days for our fourth and fifth grade teachers, but does not have release days for our TK to third grade teachers. So this MOU will provide for our TK to third grade teachers to have a release day per trimester to do assessments or to work on report cards.
I'll make a motion that we approve the MOU with BTA for TK through third grade assessment release days.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last item up for Human Resources is the consideration and approval of the Assistant Director of Health Services substitute pay rate. In the past, we've had an Assistant Director of Health Services who's our certificated nurse, who oversees all over the health services in the district. When I was talking to her recently, she retired a couple years ago, she said she just never could take a day off because we didn't have someone who could step in when students are present to take care of any emergency, or if a student who's diabetic, or all the things that we rely so heavily on our Assistant Director of Health Services to do. So this is to establish a pay rate so that we can pay someone to come on the days that our Assistant Director is out.
Is there not an assistant to our nurse?
We do have an assistant, but she's not a medical professional. So you need someone.
She just does the.
She does there's a lot of record keeping in our health services office, keeping track of immunizations and medical issues with students, and so that's the work that she does.
Understood, thank you.
I do want to say that I think it's a really good model that we have here, having a nurse and then having that clerical staff to support that. Because otherwise you're occupying a very expensive person doing data entry on hearing tests, vision tests, and all those types of things. This allows our health clinician to be out there in the field working with kids and supporting sites, and so it's a really good model. I do want to take the opportunity just to thank Dr. Jennings for her work on these MOUs. Having done this in the past, getting 3 colleges in on these MOUs that all look different, it's a lot of back and forth. People often change on the university end of things, and the fact that we were able to bring in an SLP typically means that you're hiring that person the following year, and so that we hope so. And that's huge because the contract costs on that are usually 40% higher than what we would be paying that person. And so that's significant. So I want to thank you, Dr. Jennings, for your work on that.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Assistant Director of Health Services substitute pay rate.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And so we come to our last item, consideration and approval of resolution number 25-26-20, correction to the previously adopted Level 1 developer fees resolution from November 7th. Ms. Barrington, sorry.
So this is a resolution that our legal said that we needed to have brought before you, because when the resolution was typed up a year ago, it listed 87 cents per square foot for commercial, and our report actually says that we can legally charge 84 cents, which is the state-adopted level 1 fee. So one person was incorrectly charged, and they've been reimbursed the difference. Everyone since then has been correctly charged the 84 cents, but we need an official resolution on file that states the 84 cents per square foot.
What is this for?
Developer fees.
Developer, like construction?
Yes. So like when a new house is built, or if you add greater than 500 square feet, you have to pay a fee for the permit. There's also permits that our commercial and industrial have to pull. And since they're not building homes that generate kids, but they are in our property tax area, they have to pay a lower rate. And so the wrong one was in the resolution. It should have been 84 cents a square foot. It is a correction.
I move that we approve resolution 25-26-20.
I'll second.
And this is a roll call vote, so President Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Manos?
Yes.
So before we adjourn the meeting, I just want to remind all the trustees that we have to go into closed session. And our next regular board meeting will be on December 18th, and that is our annual organizational meeting. So at this point, I want to thank everybody, and we are adjourned.